I have read 47 books so far, and this is my mid-year freakout tag. This is my first time doing it, and I'm very excited to share my answers with you. I've got these questions from this blog I will put down in the description box. The first question is, what's the best book you've read so far in 2025? It was Penance. This is a novel about a murder of a teenage girl in a true crime format. It illustrates the consequences when the crime becomes the entertainment for people. As this book gets closer and closer to the ending, you might feel guilty that you have been enjoying this murder story. It asks the question that what is real? Is it okay for us to enjoy this? In the true crime genre, it is not a new thing to learn multiple perspectives on the same crime. But the author proves their talent by making this very repeated format interesting. Yes, you learn multiple perspectives, but at the same time, the story, the crime itself is so captivating, you cannot really look away from it. Finally, this book also feels like the dark version of Mean Girls. The hierarchy between girls is so palpable and is so realistic in a lot of ways. It's like seeing the small society happening between these girls. The second question is, what has been your favorite sequel in the first half of the year? This one was not easy to finish, but still, I enjoyed the sequel, which is the second book of the Atlas series, The Atlas Paradox. Each flawed, complicated character moves as an interesting piece in this highly secretive society. In the Atlas 6, the first one, there were already some conflicts and attractions happening between these characters. So when it comes to the second book, all those conflicts and attractions start to boil so loudly. The third question is there a book that you haven't read yet but you're really excited to? Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm excited to read this one. I am quite intrigued to read the names. The mom and her son's lives change drastically depending on her son's name. 3 alternative names, 3 alternative lives. It's like a game book from my childhood. You can decide the next step at each plot point, and you flip the page following the instruction to see what will happen with your choice. The fourth question is, what is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Babel by the same author was such a fascinating book about colonialism and language. The details of the world and the dark atmosphere and the ending, all of them were 10 out of 10. This upcoming novel is about these 2 rival students going to hell to save their professor's soul. The concept itself is so intriguing. If it creates the world as rich as Babel, this will be another hit from this author for me. The fifth question is, what is the biggest disappointment so far? 4 Ruined Realms, the sequel of 5 Broken Blades. This one didn't really deliver the same punch like the first one. I was so excited to learn what is going to happen with these characters because in the first one there is a huge reveal and trust is broken and so many things happen. But sadly, I cannot really remember what happened in the second book. I remember some bits here and there, but other than that, it's just very blank status in my mind. I think for me, the thrill of knowing each character's secrets fizzled out after the first book. The sixth question is, what is your biggest surprise this year? Without a doubt, Once Upon a Time. I picked this one up because of the pretty cover, and then I fell in love with the story. It's about a special bookstore that sells rare and unique books. It can feel like this book is a fiction with its witty story, but it's actually a memoir. If you like the vibe of an old bookstore filled with stacks of books and buzzing with eccentric customers and workers, please give it a chance. The seventh question is, a book that made you cry. The friendship between these main characters was so heartwarming I almost cried. The main character wakes up in a spaceship by himself and starts to remember his mission to save the Earth. During this mission, he meets another entity. I won't say more about this entity because it can be a huge spoiler, but I guarantee that the friendship that happens in this book is a masterpiece. And although I'm not a huge fan of sci-fi, this one was not really hard to follow. I could still understand what is happening without really understanding what is happening in nitty-gritty details. The eighth question is, a book that made you happy. The banter between the FMC and MMC was a chef's kiss. Their chemistry was through the roof and it was genuinely so funny. I actually laughed out loud at one point because it was such a hilarious banter. I decided to read One Golden Summer because because I wanted to refresh my taste in between very heavy books. So I didn't really expect that I would like this book, but the romance in here was so interesting and entertaining to read. I like this one more than the first one in this series, which is called Every Summer After. I like that One Golden Summer covers this conundrum that a lot of creatives would have to go through while depicting the love between these two main characters who are in their 30s. I could relate to them quickly because I am getting close to being 30. The last question is, what books do you want to read by the end of this year? Our Share of Night is a super long book, over 700 pages. I have bought it probably 2 years ago, but I have been avoiding it since then. It talks about family and historical events with horror elements. I've been getting into horror recently, so I might have more guts to pick this up finally this year. And this book will be great to read for a spooky read in October. Maybe I'll make a reading blog with this one. So this was my mid-year freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed this video and catch you guys later. Bye!